Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about a recent trip that I took to Washington, D.C. with Women for Gun Rights. Now, if you guys have been paying attention, you may or may not have noticed I've been talking more about the Second Amendment. I've been very open and transparent about the fact that I am a new Pew Pew owner, and I don't know why I just said Pew Pew, because I just said I went to Women for Gun. You know what? Forget it. The algorithm, I'm trying to evade the YouTube algorithm, and I don't think any of these tricks work. So my apologies. But yeah, I've been talking a lot more about being a gun owner, being more transparent and open about that, because I want to encourage people to go out and utilize something that is available to you, which is the Second Amendment. If you live in America, you have this benefit that a lot of other countries don't. And I know you guys can see the writing on the wall. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening, and simultaneously, we have all of these anti-gun lawmakers trying to essentially eviscerate the Second Amendment. Now, they'll say that they're not trying to do that, but anyone who's paying attention can see that they're lying out of their ass. So that's why I've been more open and honest about the fact that, yeah, I'm buying guns and I'm training with them, and I encourage you to do the same. Now, let me talk about this event, okay? Because, I mean, if you guys have been watching my content for a long time, you know that this definitely was never in my wheelhouse of expertise, okay? And even commentary was never on my to-do list. It sort of just happened. I fell into it. And just like many other things, I seem to be falling in line with the 2A advocacy route. After a few of my testimony videos went viral, when I was testifying, sorry, the coffee is not coughing. It's also 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But a few of my videos went viral after I testified at the Rhode Island State House. A side note, they passed the assault weapons ban, and I'm gonna have to make a separate video on that at a later time. But yeah, so the founder, Diana Muller, of Women for Gun Rights, she saw my videos and she was like, I would love for you to come to our yearly fly-in in DC, where we have training and we meet with lawmakers. And pretty much, if you've never heard of this organization, it is a group of women from all across the United States. And the idea is you have one state director for each state to represent that state and to advocate for the Second Amendment. There is none for Rhode Island as it currently stands, and so the idea was maybe I could do it. Okay, fine, cool. So I go to DC, and first of all, let me tell you, I was so exhausted because the night before I was at the State House till literally 9 o'clock at night, from noontime, 9 o'clock at night. I'm not going to edit this, by the way, so you're stuck with this raw commentary. But it was a long day. It was a long day, and like I said, they passed the ban, and the next day I had a flight at 6 a.m., so I was exhausted the first day I got in DC. I'm so tired. But the second day, I woke up more refreshed, and we had civics training, which was pretty damn cool, because as someone who is a product of government-funded education, I actually don't remember learning a lot about the Constitution or the Second Amendment or, you know, important things. I don't even know, what the hell are they teaching people in school these days? I have no clue. I have no clue. So, but anyways, I learned a lot during that civics training, and I think there's a big value to flying people out and equipping them with knowledge and wisdom that they can take back to their own respective states, especially the women that were flying in from the East Coast, okay? I bonded a lot, all right, with all the East Coast people, like the New Jersey, Massachusetts, which is literally like right, 10 minutes down the road from me. We bonded a lot because we can relate to living in a state that doesn't value freedom and is on the verge of becoming California Part 2. Everywhere. Vanessa Lopez from Rhode Island. This is my first time here, so hello. Woo! Woo! I also got to meet the state director for New Hampshire, which, by the way, New Hampshire's motto is live free or die. I mean, can you get any more badass than that? Okay. And so I met Kate, and Kate is from Australia. So Kate knows firsthand what it's like to live in a country that had to deal with a lot of government overreach. You guys remember what was happening during COVID? You remember that? When they were literally dragging people out of their houses and forcing them into quarantine camps. And then I also met this woman named Mira. And Mira, like, her story blows my mind. And it's literally just a slap in the face to all of these anti-gun advocates that claim their advocacy is just about safety. There was a guy, I guess this happened like, I don't know, 20 years ago or something like that. There was a guy that came into her house, got on top of her while she was sleeping and tried to, okay? And he had a gun. She wrestled him, got his gun away from him, shot him 3 times, and then she ran out the door. So the tool that was intended to harm her ended up saving her life. And this is a reality that all of these anti-gun people, they refuse to consider. Or honestly, I just think they're lying. Like, I think they're gaslighting people because they just don't want America armed. It's as simple as that. Criminals don't care about laws. They don't care about gun-free zones. They don't care about all these things that these people are trying to advocate for, and they know that they don't care about it. There was someone else. Oh, there was a woman there from Venezuela. You know, I was talking about socialism. I just love hearing all these stories from people who have real life experiences about what it's like to not have the ability to defend yourself. And to be honest, I had a little bit of imposter syndrome at the same time, because I'm like, I don't really have a story like that, but I guess that's a good thing. But I got along so well and I bonded so quickly with a lot of these women, and it's great because even within this group, Women for Gun Rights, there are women in there who probably disagree with me on religious beliefs, on political issues, on moral issues. But if we can agree on that one thing, I think it's all worth it, because that one thing being the 2A, it allows us that ability to have disagreements in the first place. Listen, boo-boo, you want to test this theory? Go to Korea, whatever one is the bad one, I can't remember. Go to Korea and call their dictator a mean name and tell me what happens, if you can actually come back and tell me what happens, okay? Go do that in communist China and you let me know. And by the way, I almost forgot, Dick Heller was there with us the entire weekend. He actually lives in DC. And this was the first time, I'm sorry, no, lie. This was the second time that I met him. The first was back in Rhode Island. He was doing a free workshop with the Leadership Institute. And it was something to do with like gun advocacy, marksman advocacy. And listen, if it's a free anything, I'm going. So I went. I didn't know the significance of his story. And so I just find it interesting that I go to DC and he's like right there in the midst of all of these ladies who are fighting for the right to bear arms. You are a legend, and I told you earlier that
I hope my wife hears this.
you are a legend, and I think she is going to see this. What does Women for Gun Rights, why is it important?
It's real simple. Guys are used to combat. They're used to leaving the home. And who does that leave to protect the family? Alfred the Great. Okay, he was the first one that codified English common law onto paper, so it could be very explicitly and perfectly passed on to the succeeding generations. And one of their rules was that if the household lost a man, that household was still responsible for maintaining guard duty on the walls at night. So if the husband was dead or sick, somebody had to do it. Who do you think they sent? They did not send their little children, okay? The wife had to figure out how to have a warm body up on that wall doing the duty, okay? So, and that was That was like, 1,000, 1,500 years ago. So what's changed? Women still have a responsibility. We really ought to be teaching everyone how to defend themselves. And being a cop and seeing what women went through, especially young women, that's when it clicked in my mind that my advocacy should be women. My advocacy should be the family. So I'm, as a gun instructor and a retired cop, I have classes for women only, and I don't charge. Do you want to bring your husband? Okay, come on, I'll charge him. All right, but that's how important it is to me, and I don't get a dime out of it except satisfaction that people call me a legend.
And then we also had a rally where we would write our own signs, and we were going to rally on the Capitol lawn to talk about the Second Amendment and why we deserve, or well, no, why we are entitled to our the right to self-defense. And so everyone was writing all these really cute signs, but not me, because again, I was lacking sleep, so I just settled for the gun control is racist, and I just said, you know what, this is my sign, and I just went with it. And believe it or not, there are some people that when they see that sign, on the right, they get really agitated, like as if they don't understand the significance of the statement, and they think I'm just race baiting just for the hell of it. If you understand the historical context of gun control, you wouldn't be saying these stupid things online. But listen, that's a different video for a different time. But anyway, so yeah, I settled with, gun control is racist, and so we rallied on the Capitol lawn. And then we had a lot of opportunity to do content. So there was I think a local studio in DC called We the Free, I think it's called. We the Free? Don't fact check me. I'm pretty sure it's We the Free. And they're making a docu-series on armed women. And so I was interviewed. I hope I gave value because, like I said, I'm very new. I'm not out of here, guns blazing like pew. And who knows, maybe that will resonate with someone. But yeah, so we shot a lot of content. By the way, throughout this whole thing, it was hot as balls. I'm talking like sweaty, back sweat, boob sweat, hot balls. Okay? I was not a happy camper, but I put a fake smile on as, I prepared for the next day when we went out to meet with legislators. And this was I think very, I don't want to say intimidating, but I was very apprehensive about doing this. And I knew that I was going to do this from the get. Like, I'm a very direct person. And if I think that you're lying to me, I'm going to call you out on it. And so I knew before going on this trip that the plan was for 2 days, we were going to go to Capitol Hill, and we were going to meet with our own respective representatives from our state, okay? So because I'm in Rhode Island, I requested to have a meeting with Senator Jack Reed and also Representative Gabe Amo. Gabe Amo's office had to cancel last minute, and Senator Jack Reed's office, I mean, how do I say this? Like, it's weird having a conversation knowing that this person disagrees with everything you stand for, but I'm happy that I did it because I think we have to push ourselves to do things that make us uncomfortable. Getting out of our comfort zone and saying, okay, I'm gonna do this thing even though I don't like it, even though you don't like me, we're still gonna sit here and have a conversation. I think it's important because, number one, you don't know whose mind you're going to change. Not everyone who works at these individual offices of these reps and senators in DC, not all of these interns actually align with the person they're interning for, which I found very interesting. You don't know whose mind you're going to change. And I think I take that principle even when I make content. A lot of people, they sort of get like confused whenever I make videos on certain topics or I try engaging in debate with my audience, because to them, like, what, that's a waste of time. Why are you bothering? You're not going to change their mind. And you are correct. I might not change their mind, but I might change someone else's mind. And we're not going to see the fruits of that immediately. So at least engage, at least try, and then you can have that ability to complain about, woe is me, the world sucks. But if you're just sitting there and you refuse to engage because it makes you uncomfortable or you don't like it, then you really can't complain.
My name is Diana Muller. I am the founder of Women for Gun Rights. I am a 22-year police officer in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I retired early to make a new career as a professional shooter, which was my hobby turned into another career.
Nice. Okay. And so briefly explain, why did you become the founder of this? Why did you start it to begin with?
Okay. So I was living the life of Riley. I had a retirement. I had a husband I liked. I was shooting competitively and getting paid for it. So God put it on my heart to like do something for free.
Yeah.
That took all my time.
Yep.
I knew that a friend of mine said, do you want to take a meeting with your congressman? When I got way too close to Washington, D.C. And I was like, well, that's what you do, I guess, when you're in Washington, D.C., you go meet your congressman. So I took the meeting, and in that meeting, it was literally like a light bulb moment. I was like, hey, is there something that we should be doing to educate the people in this building that are making some really egregious, uneducated decisions about our rights? And from there, it kind of started me thinking about, what can one person do?
One thing that I noticed this is my first time coming here, and thank you so much for inviting me. I learned a lot.
Thanks for coming.
And one thing that stuck with me is I had no idea that I could actually make meetings with people. I thought that once they were in the building, that's it. They're kind of untouchable.
Yeah, all the audience agree.
So like, I am the peasant, but and so it was a really eye-opening experience, and I feel confident that it's something that I can even do locally back home.
This lady gets paid to shoot.
She does.
Watch this.
Yeah, that is the fun part. But this is the stuff that means something.
Yeah.
I love this country, and I think that it's worth fighting for the rights that actually make us safe. I believe that we have the truth on our side, and that we know how to make ourselves safe, and that just banning things and restricting things and making it more difficult for average everyday people to access those things doesn't make their communities safer.
Yeah, it's more like a way of them making themselves feel as if they're doing something.
It's the difference from feeling safe as opposed to being safe.
Right. Big difference.
Like, you lock your door, and you might, if you have that mentality, you might feel safe at night because you locked your door. But I actually feel safe because I've got a gun under my pillow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to sleep, and they got 2 doors to come through before they get to me, and I'm going to wake up and
make a lot of noise.
Make a lot of noise.
Oh, and then, how could I forget this part? There was a bomb threat while we were there. So our entire hotel had to evacuate at like 11 o'clock at night. We were already in our own rooms. I think I was watching like Goodfellas for the 10th time. And so I'm just lying in bed, and all of a sudden I hear this guy in the intercom telling people to evacuate the building. But he was very like nonchalant, like there was no sense of urgency in his voice, and I don't know if that was to not cause a panic. But whatever, I was still dressed, so I was like, all right, let me just walk outside. So I get downstairs and I meet all the other girls, and listen, this is something that I've learned on this trip. Ladies, listen to me. When you go to bed at night, okay, you need 3 things on your nightstand, okay? You need your wallet, your phone, and your bra, all right? Don't be running out the building with no bra and then get on national TV to talk about your experience, all right? Oh, and also your teeth. If you got no teeth, you need your teeth near your nightstand as well. So yeah, very interesting night. We ended up going to an Irish bar, and just, for the record, I had a, what did I have? What was the drink? It was a, old fashioned. That's what it was. It was a really good old fashioned as well. Now, I think the most exciting thing for this trip, aside from all the other things I was talking about, is the fact that I got to go to the White House, and not as like a tour. I got to go with Women for Gun Rights and represent Rhode Island to advocate for 2A policies. Like, when will I ever get to do that? And you know what the thing is I think, like, I've tried sharing this. You guys know my story. Most of my family members are, all of my family members are liberal. Most of them don't like Trump. And so, I've tried sharing this, and they're not as excited as I am. And you know what's interesting is, if Kamala Harris got into the White House, but I had the opportunity to go and meet with her team to advocate for 2A policies, I would still do it. It doesn't matter who is in the White House. We're still on a mission, and I think that being in the presence of this building that has so much history, it's like a one-in-a-lifetime thing that you can ever do. And so I was just grateful that I was invited to go. And not all the women got to go, by the way. It was like a group of 13 that actually got to have this meeting. We didn't meet Trump. We didn't meet Vance. We met with his team. I'm sorry, I don't know everyone's name. It was a little bit intimidating because I'm just sitting there listening to everyone, and then all of a sudden this guy turns around and he starts asking me questions, and I'm like, So I was kind of caught off guard, but either way, it was just like one of those once in a lifetime experiences. And it's kind of surreal to think that, prior to 2020, I had the most extreme Trump derangement syndrome. I was a leftist. I just could not stand conservatives, or I just, I was regurgitating all of the progressive talking points. And to see where I am now, listen, when God's got a plan, he's got a plan, okay? Don't question him. He knows what he's doing. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the bulk of my trip. But yeah, I wanted to share this with you guys to let you know what I've been up to. Like I said, overall, this was a great experience. If you guys support this mission and you think there's value in what Women for Gun Rights does, please go support them. Consider joining a chapter. We need your help. We got these groups like Moms Demand Action that think that they have monopoly over the gun conversation, and they are well funded. Okay, they have a lot of support from people with big pockets. So if you have the capabilities to support our efforts, or like I said, you want to join a chapter, maybe you don't even own a gun and you want to find out how to get into it, listen, visit the website, because there's so many resources available. You can even ask me. I can try to point you in the right direction. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is going to be one of those, what am I trying to say? Listen, it's like, what time is it? This is one of those off the rip videos, unscripted. Do you guys like these? Maybe I don't know. Let me know if you guys like these, because sometimes when I try writing scripts, I get angry because I'm meditating on the anger that I'm writing, and by the time I go to record, I'm pissed. Anyways, my name is Vanessa. You may know me as Gothix, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!